Alrighty, here we are. It's 3 o'clock. Hello everyone, good afternoon. Well done for being here day 3. And today we're going to be learning about how to make money from your game design documents. So I'll just, friendly tech people for the screen. Anyone friendly tech people for the screen? Anyone? Yeah, no, that'd be great. Just so that it can go on the computer. Show. Here we are. There we are. We have liftoff. So thank you for being here. Well done again. How many of you have made a game design document before? Who really enjoys it? At the start. So letting the ideas flow. Very cool. So I think it'd be good, given the size of this crowd, if we make this talk quite interactive. We've spent 5 years building a tool to help make game design documents really sexy and really fun, and a really great way to celebrate your creativity and your talent without you being in the room. Sound good? So firstly, who here has a background in the arts, say film or sound or anything like that? Yes? Great. So we built SpaceDraft based off a lot of the principles of Hollywood. So this is my background here. I was on set for well over 10 years in visual effects and on movies. And so in movies, how you're able to tell the quality of a film, of a project, is through a script. Now, it's very, very easy to hand a script to Mel Gibson, scratch out the dialogue in red pen and say, Mel, you're actually saying this. He doesn't like it, but that's how easy it is to change what actually happens within the shot, on camera. But when it comes to designing games, it's all very, very difficult. Hello? Oh, okay. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, great. All right, sure. Great. So as this talk's going to be quite interactive, I'm going to jump around a little bit and show you a bunch of examples. But firstly, given my backgrounds in film and we've built this tool for game design documents based off the principles of what makes a successful movie, I wanted to touch on what makes a really good trailer. So what does make a great film? Anyone? What makes a great film?
Great plot.
Great plot, thank you. Sound? Art department? Set deck? Costume? Visual effects? Locations? All these elements of production come together to create a brilliant film. Now, what makes a great trailer for a movie?
Do you want it to go full screen?
No, I'm fine.
You're fine.
Thanks. Any more techish? No, we're all good. Okay. So what makes a great trailer? Anyone? Pardon? Explosions. Okay, what else? Marketing. Very good. What else? Pace. You want to feel the tone and the mood of the movie when you're watching the trailer. Now, some of the films that I worked on, they spent 8 months designing the trailer when they should have been spending it on post-production, but they just knew how important it was to get a really, really good trailer. So I'm going to tell you something a little bit sad, maybe not. Last night, while you all were probably out partying, raging, I was watching 2 hours of movie trailers, because I love movie trailers, and I just knew that I wanted to get the best example for you today. And I promise this is all going to make a lot of sense very, very soon. So if we watch this trailer together, oops, have we got sound here? Sorry, tech, I know I pushed you away before. Do we have sound for video? No. It'd be great if we had. It was going through? Okay. Microphone, maybe here. Here we go, sorry. maybe audio here. Nope. Yeah. All right, let's just see how we go.
Tammy Faye.
Can you hear that?
Hello, Mother. This is Jim Baker, my husband. It's all part of our mission to help people. Anyone who's hurting or they feel like they've been left out, God has a plan for us.
What did he tell you to do this time?
Jesus keeps a taking me higher and higher. Jim will preach and I'll sing.
God does not want us to be poor.
Waterfall of pleasure. Now God has a voice in this fight.
Who's he fighting?
Liberal agenda, homosexual agenda.
Faith isn't political.
You can't talk to him like that. Jerry Falwell's a powerful man, Tammy Faye.
She's a firecracker, Jim.
If everyone watching could double their pledge just for one mother, God loves you. He really does.
We're not doing anything wrong, though.
Is that a question?
Tammy and I are undergoing the most vicious attacks.
Serving God don't feel like it should be a money-making opportunity.
You know, when I saw that clipping with my face on it, I thought for a second that you were proud of me.
Oh, Tammy Faye, you follow blindly. In the end, all you are is blind.
I just want to love people.
The devil's coming for me, Tammy.
Can we talk about Satan later, Jim?
Steve is a patient of AIDS.
I can't look at this. You need to get her under control.
I built you an empire.
You built you an empire.
Some people, they're just hurting so bad, and we just need to love them.
I want to put my arm around you.
And I want to put my arms around you, Tammy Faye.
I won't go forward looking in the rearview mirror of my life. This is who I am.
All right, sorry about the sound. Now, who knows if that film did very well or not at the box office?
Well, it was in 2001, so probably not.
Well, it was, so Jessica Chastain, she won Best Actress for that film last year, the Oscars. And the trailer they say it's one of the best that there ever was because it's just showing all the elements of the production. You've got an amazing tone, you've got great protagonists, but the film actually tanked at the box office, but she won Best Actress for it. But with all the trailers that I saw last night, that was one. Hi. Oh. We just couldn't get sound for the video. Can you help with that? Thanks. So why I'm showing you this is there's a lot to be said about having a great trailer, about having a great pitch and introduction for a movie, even if it's actually not that good in terms of the content.
So is that press play?
It's not playing, yeah. It's just playing from here.
We're not doing anything wrong.
Sorry, guys. I've got quite a few to show, but
We got a bunch of videos.
sorry about this. But what I've essentially got is a bunch of examples of really, really, really good game design document templates, which you're all going to get today, that is going to guarantee that your game design document actually sells the vision of your game, even if you haven't finished building it yet. So that's the purpose of what today was about, is to show you that there is a resource available for you to be able to create a working document that can double as a pitching tool, but also as a portfolio piece.
Wrong, though.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. Cool. All right. Hopefully that's everything. So, back to my presentation here. We built this tool here, SpaceDraft. that essentially allows you to showcase the best of your game and all the fundamental pieces of the puzzle so that you can get funding. So we know of the 65,000 games that have now been built first as a SpaceDraft, they've got funding. And that's what we're here today to make sure that you know about, that this tool can help you get funding for your game so that you can keep working on it after you've created your submission. So if we go here to SpaceDraft as a tool, there are a lot of elements that funding bodies are looking for in your game design document. What is the gameplay? What are the rules? What's the mood? What are the hooks? What's your marketing budget? What's your plan? What's the proposal, etc. So this is a template that we created for you, but you're able to actually essentially break down all the elements of production for your game, whatever that may be. So you can jump in and pre-visualize the concepts before you've actually started building out the game. Now, the best part about SpaceDraft is that you can make your SpaceDraft live so that even if you've sent someone the link for your game design document, you can be working on it up to well and truly past the submission deadline. So if I show you here some of the games that were created at Gamescom in Germany, this is one that went to Tencent that was created by someone and they wanted to share it with us. So essentially you've got some pixel artwork here, you've got your level concept, mechanics, jumping, and acknowledgement. So it's literally like an assignment. So if I jump in here, I'm able to kind of visualize the world. So the core base of SpaceDraft is that you can show and tell the story without actually having to build anything at all. So there's no limit to how deep you can go and how deep you can take this rabbit hole of showing concept before you actually make it. So every game, as is with every trailer or every film, you have essential story, or you've got a narrative that's taking place. Now, it doesn't have to be linear, and that's one of the most important parts of SpaceDraft that we wanted to essentially make very possible. This here is a SpaceDraft game design doc for a VR project, which went to Screen Australia, which actually got funding. So this project got 50 grand just by creating this SpaceDraft and sending it first. So this SpaceDraft here, this was created by a dentist. So this dentist had a bit of a passion for VR and essentially built out this SpaceDraft. So you're able to essentially catch the concept, and she of course didn't have any actual assets. She's had no skill in Unity or Unreal, but just by using this tool, it was enough for her to get the idea for her experience out of her head. And it was enough for her to actually showcase that she had a plan. Now, these images are just from scratch, or they're from the internet, anything at all, but essentially it's her way of showing something sexy. Which is really all that a trailer is. It's a prelude to something that is still in the editing room. So here we've got another part of the experience. This is all about onboarding. Who
are you? What are you?
Now, it's not great, but it's more fun than a traditional game design document, which looks a bit like this. Okay? So just by building a SpaceDraft, you're able to attach it to any kind of document, but as a QR code, you're then able to scan it and use it as a template, and you can send that link around wherever it may be. So this here, if I go back to my examples, we've got all different kinds of crazy SpaceDrafts that have been built. I'm just trying to find my account here. because there really is no limit to how deep you can go with using this tool. And we just knew by building SpaceDraft that there had to be something between PowerPoint and Unity and Unreal, and that's why we raised 2.7 million to build this product, just so that you can have better access to funding. Just like in the film industry, you have a script for access to funding to actually greenlight the film project. So if I go back here on launch, and please, because there's, you know, we're all in a safe space. Any questions that you've got, just feel free to go for it as you have your questions. This SpaceDraft here was this is a pitch for funding, again from Screen Australia, but for an AR project. So over here, as you can see, there is the traditional script on the side, and then this is the visualization of the world, and then it is uploading a soundscape here. Now, if you were to get this sent to you as a QR code or as a link versus as a really boring PowerPoint, who's going to get funding? Are you going to get funding from your sexy, interactive, thoughtful visualization, or are you going to get it from your traditional PowerPoint? So feel free to scan this, and then you've got another example, and you'll be able to see how pretty it is on phones, if you want. So if I was working on this SpaceDraft and I'm collaborating with 10 other people that are also building this AR experience, I can turn it on live, and then my team is able to continue working on this SpaceDraft well and truly after the deadline for the submission for the grant. So that's pretty cool. So it's not just, this is your PDF and you've made your submission, you can actually keep working on it well and truly after the deadline. So it's a little bit of a cheat, but whatever it takes, right? So with a lot of the other projects we've got for movie trailers, we've got kids as young as 7 are using SpaceDraft to pitch and prepare their ideas. But we're at GCAP, so I'm going to stick to gaming. So sound really is 60% of an experience, and that's just something that isn't really given enough light when it comes to your game design documents. It's all very well being able to explain, this is my audio mood board, but it's far richer if you can actually layer in the soundscape for your project. So this is as much a game design document as it is showcasing someone's talent as a musician. So this composer, Sean, is traditionally from film and TV, getting into gaming, wanting to go for funding to essentially build out some amazing games. But he has a talent. He is an artist and he's a musician. So he built this SpaceDraft and then submitted it to a bunch of, festivals all over the world, but also onto marketplaces such as 99 Designs and Fiverr, just so that he can get exposure to other game designers so that he can add sound to their games. So if you want to also grab this as a QR code, you can see how this tool can be used as an interactive portfolio as well. So when I essentially click on this link and it's live, so if Sean's tweaking his personal portfolio, that link is live updating. So when I click on this particular game, this is created by an artist. So he's showcasing all his variations of his talent as a sound designer. So this one here as well. And you can jump between the different tracks. This one's interesting because this game is actually about a woman that murders her husband and hides him in the oven. But the smell of the the dead husband actually permeates through the house and disturbs the neighbours. Now, the sound composer for this, he started adding in this kind of moody atmos for the game. And as he was adding the sound to this SpaceDraft, the actual artist was then adding a clock or adding different kind of elements to the game. So the sound came first, which then inspired the artist, which is another way that you can go about using it. So having a live, interactive, real-time game design document is something that hasn't been done before. This game here is about office politics, and it's quite fun because they actually customise the submission based off the criteria for the application. And this also got funding too. So you've got the game overview. Here we've got the overview of this particular game, and you can jump into the different components of the submission. So if we go player engagement and fun, we want to go to game story and narrative, game technology, game aesthetics, and then of course we want to go to, which is a bit of fun, the game mechanics. So this game here, so clearly there's some crazy slug action going on, but if we wanted to edit this game design document in real time, all we need to do is draw a path to make some extra movement with these sexy slugs here. So that's how easy it is to start building and animating and bringing your game to life. And of course, you can narrate gameplay and add your assets as it evolves. So if I want to design my own pin, we've built this library here which has over 50,000 different assets, but you could ultimately create your own and build your own as well. So if I am, here we go, forgive me because I'm really a terrible artist. So if I'm here and I'm creating my own asset here, this is going to be a little star guy, I can essentially build him in situ within the tool, and then I'm making him move. So as I'm making him move, I can be essentially also narrating what it is that I want to have happen within this scene so I can communicate to the art team. So this is really how you can showcase a world, a level, but then of course if you want to add in a new level, that's absolutely fine. You just add in a new scene, which is an empty space. So every single space starts as an empty world, ready for your imagination, sound, to bring it all to life. So we built this library of assets for all different kinds of backgrounds, no matter what it is, for you to, not have to be able to draw to start building out and fleshing out your world. So let's have this is now level, potentially this is the same game about office politics. So now this is going to be about, what happens in the back room. Now I know that this scene is going to be broken up in time, in steps or stages or minutes or hours. So I'm going to make this scene 1 minute long. So now my duration for this scene is 1 minute long. So if I want to, I can put in some, we've got some safety people here. We're going to have a bulldozer, or we're going to have some policemen, whatever it might be, and we can start building out this world to start informing something a little bit crazy and different, no matter what it could be. So maybe we've got some digger trucks in here, etc., etc. So you can essentially start telling and showing the story as a concept, no matter how crazy it might be, to start, showing how creative you are. And this is particularly useful when you have game jams. So potentially you've got a game jam that is themed. It's very easy to rapid prototype using SpaceDraft as a submission And as we know, game design documents can also be examples of game jam experiences as well. So we've got, thousands of templates here, and a lot of them have been informed by all different kinds of governments of like, yes, we've got a $4 million fund. These are all the components that we're assessing you on, much like a checklist. So we want to see what the mechanics are. We want to see this. We want to see this. So we've really got lots of templates available within the tool for you to use and go with, so that you can be less misunderstood as best as possible, so you can have the greatest chance of success of getting your funding of what it is that you need. So we've got a lot of budget breakdowns as well as to the expectations of what the different councils are after. But also, if you're a student and you essentially have an assessment, there are a lot of templates available online for you as well. And our booth's just out the back, so you can essentially come and chat to any of us and we can show you how to use it too. So if this is what we call the big picture or the cover page, this background image can be bespoke. So this is just something that one of our artists mocked up, but as a submission, you've got your cover page here, you've got your flow diagram, let's see what that is. You've essentially got your detailed level map, as detailed or as not detailed as you want, references, and you've essentially got your visual references too. So this is a really basic, vanilla, more stocky kind of example, but then we've got lots that are a lot more sexy too, but you can flesh out your own in line with your theme and your tone of what it is that your world is for your game. So with some of the other games that we've got, they've essentially created their cover pages as a submission. So this is the concept overview. You've got your actors here. You've got your aesthetics. We've got flow diagram. And of course, the story tells the time of what's happening at the different parts of the experience. Any questions? So this is one. Okay, so at this point in the game, we need to have howling wolves. Yeah, before the player runs north and kills the babies. All right, bit morbid, but you get the picture. That you can literally narrate and explain what it is that you're trying to communicate. And that's really what, in movies, Hollywood, we've got the script, then we've got the storyboards, and we've got all the different elements that come together. So in SpaceDraft, as a game design document, you're able to explain the flow of what it is that you're imagining happening in your world. This here is a vertical scene. Which clearly explains that this isn't a bunch of, dead wolves and babies, whereas this one might be. So what it is that I'm, I guess, most passionate about relaying today is that your game design documents can be a constant exploration of a passion project that you have, that you can constantly be building and working on in order to get more talent, get more interest, get more community, and also get really more information to make a better game as fast as you can without spending a lot of money. Because I know this talk's called How to Make Money from Your Game Design Document, but it's also how to save money from having a good game design document. And sometimes, you can spend so long rapid prototyping or building out a feature or an asset, when really the people that are looking to fund your game, they want to see how clever you are and how dedicated you are and how big this vision is, or how realistic this vision is or not. As a startup, I've raised $2.7 million, and every single time that I pitch, it's always just a little bit more improvement, little bit more. And as a way to pitch a concept for a game, it just helps to have a working doc that you can have all your ideas in, and that you can constantly be,
hello, Mr. Smith, this is my idea. When I get into the cave, I want there to be all these tentacles, and they're going to make sounds like this. You know?
so you can really personalize it and bring out your personal essence as well. So it really allows you to just have all those kind of components, but then all mapped out in a big picture, just like chapters in a book. So if I go down, we've got some other kind of different games here, some which might be familiar, but I've put this here because if I have a non-linear narrative and I'm going into kind of a whole bunch of different webs, I'm going to set this as a whiteboard here, and I'm going to essentially just show you how easy it is to show the flow of these different worlds. So I can just click on a button once, and then I can just essentially be dragging these arrows, and perhaps this is what leads to this and what leads to this here. And so when I go into these worlds, I can create these kind of portals, if you will, to the different aspects of the game. So, yes, you get the flow. But we've just noticed from the feedback of people using the product just how funding bodies and even investors are now expecting SpaceDrafts to be sent when you're pitching an interactive or immersive concept rather than something like this. It just allows for a far more engaging and exciting dialogue, so that you can put your best foot forward, because that's really what pitching is all about. So is there anything particular that I can share? Like, does anyone here have a particular game that they can't really get out of their head, or that they're having trouble communicating as a concept? Because maybe I can allude to some advice as to how you could...
Okay, so at the opening of my battle, be aware of the lion coming as fast as you can, run to the...
You get the vibe, right? I put my voiceover in here before so that you'd know who it was that was speaking. So, yeah, this is really... We can jump into all different kinds of worlds and levels, but you could also attach like real-time backgrounds that are GPS tracked as well. So we have been working with Esri and the WA Police, as well as the Singapore military, which has been quite exciting. So you can punch in multiple locations, which sets the background to set the scene of your world as well. So I'll try find you one. While we were in Germany, we actually got sent a SpaceDraft about how to escape from North Korea, which was quite bizarre. So if I can find that account, let me just go here. But yeah, any questions so far? Yes?
You said that some investing bodies will favour a SpaceDraft over a GDD doc. Do they actually, even if they do prefer this, do they still expect the written one as well?
No. So, well, we know from our experience with Screen West, Ricky Lee Bestel, who's the CEO, she said, yeah, this is definitely a far more exciting way to engage the adjudicators. I mean, as a startup founder, we've gone for enough grants now to know that whoever receives the document, they're ultimately not going to be the right person to make the decision on whether this gets funding or this gets funding or this gets funding. It's going to end up going to a committee. So the easier it is to share around a link to say, yes, this is in the good basket, this is in the crap basket, this is in the, oh my gosh, how can they think that that's going to actually be a success basket? It's just far easier to pass around a link as a concept. This here is a VR experience called the Infinite Sound Check, which is by a team called God of Riffs.
Welcome to the Infinite Sound Check. One, two, hello? Hello? You have been summoned by the Metalverse to see if you're worthy enough to unleash the power and let rock roar free again.
So they're clearly still working on this, but this was enough of a submission for them to get funding for the first part of their game. So what happens often is there are tranches of investment. So you could basically say, look, my whole game is going to cost 180,000, but I need 20 grand up front to build essentially the prototype. So you use a SpaceDraft pitch for that, which you're likely to then get. And then from that, you can then help pre-visualize the next tranche of funding, and then the next and the next. I mean, everyone, we all see Gantt charts all the time. It gets pretty boring. But if you've got something that can pre-visualize the concept, then you're more likely to be engaged and more likely to feel that you're on the journey with the team to actually build the content long term. Bum, bum, bum. Any other questions? Yes.
Is there scope if
the
I
island.
prepare the prototype to embed a WebGL Unity prototype in the document?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So back in what was a long time ago, this is actually a version of the tool back in 2018 where you could toggle between 2D and 3D and VR. To really get that sense and feel of what the project was going to be about, but we stripped it back. You can definitely insert any kind of video, such as this. So this is just essentially a note. These notes here can be positioned anywhere and essentially timed to tell the story, and they pop up when and where you want them to. So yes, we have definitely catered for that. No worries. And it also just helps, particularly with all the, metaverse content or AR, VR, sometimes you just can't be sure that they're going to get the right gear to actually give your content the greatest chance of success. You just don't know if they're going to know how to use the headset, if they're going to know that they're going to have, a good enough phone. So it just allows to, translate the long-term vision without getting into the weeds. So who here has produced any form of AR or VR? Yep. So you understand when I say that there's always a gap between what you're imagining being built and then what is built as a result. If I actually do this exercise when I present SpaceDraft to people, in the metaverse, etc. And maybe I'll do it with you guys. So please go on a little bit of a journey and close your eyes, all of you. A man walks into a bar. He walks up to the barman. He says, "Hey barman, give me a gin and tonic." The barman smiles. The barman turns around, walks along the bar, and starts making the gin and tonic. As the man at the bar is waiting, he looks around the room and takes it all in. Then he looks down at his feet. Then he reaches into a pocket, pulls out a gun, shoots the barman, downs the gin and tonic, and leaves the bar. Open your eyes. What did your bar look like? Okay, great. What was your bar?
I saw everything, so 2D pixel kind of thing, because that's what we've been looking at. But it was more like a Southern American, out in the country kind of bar.
Okay, anyone else? What was your bar? Cool. So my bar was at the beach, and the barman wasn't a man, it was a woman. She was a topless waitress. And when I looked down at my feet, I saw sand. Still same story, but I saw a different bar than you did.
And this is the problem of what's just going to happen more and more and more as we build more immersive and interactive content. I'm always going to see something different than what you can see. And you're always going to see something different than what you can see. By no fault of your own, purely but other than the fact that we've grown up with different contexts and we all see a different bar differently. So this tool was designed and it spent 5 years to get to this point so that when you're working with creative teams and you're trying to pre-produce content, you can all come from a common mind's eye understanding. So you can all start seeing the same bar as early as possible and then build a better world as a result of being on the same page so early. So that is why we built this tool, because this isn't going to do justice for immersive and interactive experiences of the future. And also, you can't change this fast enough, as my example at the start with film and red pen on paper. Here you go, Mel Gibson, I'm changing this line of dialogue. We built this tool so that you could be rapid prototyping and ideating as fast as possible through the ideation process, so that the tool that you're working with to pitch for the funding that you need to make your actual game is growing with you as you get inspired, as you learn more about your audience, as you rapid prototype better and faster. It just helps bring in other people to the journey, whether they're investors, whether they're artists, whether they're sound designers, engineers, and then you're all singing from the same song sheet. So we built this tool so that we could all be seeing the same bar before we actually get the funding to then build the game itself. And that's the power of a game design document. And that's why what we've used traditionally in the past is not enough to handle the types of stories that are going to be required by audiences in the future. Make sense? Any other questions? Yes?
This is a cloud-based app, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't have a standalone offline one, do you?
So we've got, so you can save an output to be an offline version of the tool. So, but it is a cloud-based web app that you can build from, phones, any device. Yes?
Can you see changes that someone else has done, like the next day, or was it all quite right?
So absolutely, and that cost me $500,000. So I'm thrilled that we answered that. You asked that question. So essentially, yes. So you've got your version history. If I want to jump into this version from September the 17th, I can essentially open that in a new tab and go back to that point in time. But if you're editing this as I'm editing this, then we've got that real-time collaboration feature here. So essentially, we can be working on it in real time together, and that's why we've been evolving this tool with a lot of level design students who have to do group assignments. And why the producers love SpaceDraft is that it's not just the graphic designers that end up doing all the work. You can actually divvy up scenes. So you're working on this sprite, you're working on this level, and then it all comes together because you're on it together. Yeah. Any other questions?
Is there a limit to how many boards, projects you can make with the one account?
No, not at all. And if this wasn't going to be recorded, I would show you how the film Mad Max is using SpaceDraft currently in Queensland, and the amount of boards they've got is ridiculous. But it's really, really well organised because they just love using the tool. So no limit. No limit, but also there's no limit to how many scenes you can use within a project either. So you can, go to town and, use as many scenes as you want. There is absolutely no limit, and we made that by design so that it was really fun to kind of go as deep as you want.
Lucy, you mentioned the school projects. You approach the education departments to get this into schools?
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got a lot of schools and unis all using it to rapid prototype, basically, and it's as a level design tool. The teachers love it because it makes the students actually sit in the world for longer. So they actually have to think about all the elements of production. And I know I showed you the trailer at the start of this talk about, that's a great trailer because you can see all the elements of what makes that film: characters, costume, lighting, set deck, etc. Thank you. So yes, they're all using it because they can spend more time in the world without actually physically coding it before they jump into Unity and Unreal. Any other questions?
Is it a free service or is it?
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Of course it's free. It is definitely, absolutely free. We made it free so that you could jump in and go to town as often, as little, as frequently as you like. But ultimately, if you've got a team of, 10 or so people, it's $49 a month. But we get the majority of our revenue from kind of big industry like mining, who are building digital twins with it before they waste all their money on building the digital twin. Okay, so
since this is a creative tool that people are using to express their ideas, do you put in any protection to stop people from, I suppose, pilfering from other people's designs?
Well, if I write a love letter to you and someone else gets it, do I love that person or is it for you? I mean, it really is, it's a link to a project that you can lock or unlock. But if I give you a PDF, it's out in the ether, right? So it depends if you want to send out an export, or you can invite someone to collaborate with you in real time, and then that's just as a view-only version.
So there are ways to limit who sees what?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, completely. Our CTO is one of the most amazing, scary back-end, cyber security engineers ever. So, and we're also in Catholic education, so that was quite tricky to get all the security protocols right, but we did. Yeah. No worries. Yes.
How searchable is it? Can you find every scene that refers to a particular character or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got meta tags within everything. So if you've got my pins here, you can search all your pins where they are, and it would take you to where they are. But ultimately as well, you've got your media asset library here, so you can have all your images, audio, all your ideas, different GIFs. You can all store them and search for everything within your library. But yes, you can, and then of course, search all your projects. You can filter your projects, shared with me my creations, but then also you can break up your projects into groups and you can assign people to those groups. So if I've got 5 departments that I'm running one project on, I can share that SpaceDraft with certain teams, and then within those teams, they have certain projects with certain assets and non-assets, yeah. Anything else? And of course, you can put everything in folders, and yes, the limit of your imagination is the limit of your mind. So jump in, have fun, and we'd love you to send what it is that you're proud of, and then we can showcase it if you want. But ultimately, we know that there is a need for this, and we're just grateful to support and empower the creative content that's going to come in the future. So thank you for letting us build this and share it with you at GCAP today.